Did you know every time you podcast, you have to podcast? Welcome, everybody, to the Streakres Island Podcast. It is I, Jacob Moore, the self-proclaimed sports analyst. And we have the usual suspects in the panel here. We have Lane Dashing Dashco, Mr. Dan Moore, more for your money.
Woo!
And Chazzy, the CEO. 5.1. So a new firmware update has been installed. So if
Beautiful new outfit.
We know why.
More to come, and the shirt represents. Are we going to see another team hit the Lynx, boys?
Yeah, nice.
Well, let's talk about that. So are you guys? Do you guys feel that Carolina is no way winning this game?
Yeah.
100%. I was just going to say quickly, it was so funny. I was talking to Chazzy all day today, and I almost put on a golf shirt. I had that golf shirt vibe. I started going for a summer workout shirt instead, but we are
that golf shirt a long sleeve or a short sleeve?
Short sleeve. So off my muscles.
So all you guys think Carolina doesn't stand a chance tonight?
100%.
No, I think Carolina could win
chance.
one game.
Carolina has already won one game.
No, they won one game in Florida. I think we'll win tonight.
Okay, but I think Carolina will win tonight.
I think so too.
I think Carolina's going to push this to 6, and if you push it to 7, it's anyone's game.
Yeah, exactly.
So I thought Carolina.
If Florida loses tonight, they lose 3 in a row. I don't know. Not
Just hear me out though. Carolina did exactly what they needed to do in the last game. They made it a very low event game, which is exactly what they're looking to do. And if you can do that again tonight, I mean, anything can happen when Timothy goes to school, right?
You forgot they took 4. You forgot they took 4 players out of their lineup just because they could. They literally took Sam Bennett just out because they can, and then Paul Maurice went laughing into that post game saying, "Oh, I hated the last 2 goals we gave up. Our goalie sucks." They were empty net goals.
That's just Paul Maurice playing his typical mind games. But
I just don't think they care. Like I literally think they went into that game being like, "Yeah, whatever. We don't really care." Like I think they're so, and maybe their overconfidence will come back to bite them. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we'll be looking at this in 4 days going, shouldn't be doing that. But they did. They took like 4 players, key players out of their lineup just because they could. They're playing this really cocky because I just don't think they really looked at that game as a really important game, knowing that they could just come win it tonight.
But that's my point, and that's why I think Carolina is going to get back in this series, right? Florida, to me, looked very uninspired in the last game. And you have just opened the door just enough, right? But by the odds, the way they were going, Carolina could not continue to lose every single conference final game. That's a win one at some point. And I'm not saying Carolina will come back and win this series, but if they do, you will look back at that game 4 and go, "Oh my gosh, we could have wrapped it up and we just didn't." The hardest win to get is the 4th. It's not the 3rd. It's not the 2nd. It's not the 1st. It's the 4th win in a series.
Well, I did say going into the series, I believe that Florida is going to win in 6. Florida won a game in Florida. I think they'll win in Carolina tonight, and then I think Florida will wrap it up on the road in Game 6.
Now, Lane,
we don't need to do any more shows. Dan's just told us what's going to happen.
Lane, do you think Carolina will bring an effort tonight, or do you think they'll just roll over Florida? Will just steamroll them?
No, I think they'll bring an effort. They're not the Leafs. They're not the Toronto Maple Leafs. I know they're going to try their best. I know this team's going to give it their all, and I think they're going to play a game that's or at least even if the score does get a hand, I think they're going to play a lot more respectful than the Leafs because I feel like when it comes down to Toronto, and we've talked about this, I feel like it's more just like that's their attitude when it goes into those kind of games. But I feel like Carolina is going to give it their all tonight.
So Dan Gray is clearly not a steady Freddie fan. They're not coming back. Anderson sucks too bad. He's coming off a shutout. The thing is, if Anderson, he goes on these stretches. He had his bad game now. Could he go on another stretch? I've never been the most confident in Frederik Andersen, but if Carolina can keep Florida to 20 shots again, he doesn't have to be spectacular. It's like Stuart Skinner in Edmonton, right? He ought to steal a period. I think there will be a moment where you'll need Frederik Andersen to step up, but who knows? Shades feels that Dan Gray is correct.
So everyone's on my side tonight.
And okay, yes, I could be struck by lightning, but also Shades is throwing some love to the shirt of Mr. Chad 5.0.
So he's definitely seeing the Hurricanes hit the links then. So
we're not sponsored by ACDC Thunderstruck, but if you want to sponsor us, we'll play your songs at the beginning of the stream. Just let us know.
Now,
isn't it Mr. Gray's birthday today? Happy birthday, Mr. Gray.
Happy birthday, Mr. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Dan Gray. Happy birthday to you.
I really hope I was right, because if not, that was just a waste of 15 seconds.
Time to mute. And I will say, Dan, you are right. The art could be struck by lightning is a line I used to use on 705 Sports very often. When I would come off when I'd have a crazy take that people were like, that's not going to happen. I'm like, yeah, well, you could be struck by lightning. So,
wow.
We also have in the chat a happy birthday, Mr. Gray from Shades.
Nice. There's Granny 59.
Hello, Granny 59.
But now that we're done our sing-along, I enjoyed the sing-along personally. It's time to get into the
silly songs with Larry.
It's time to get into the Florida Panthers lineup, and it looks like the guys are back in the lineup. Reinhardt's back in. Bennett's back in. I don't know. I could honestly see, though, this team coming a little sleepy to the wheel. I think they're overconfident.
They might be.
No, not this team.
I know.
Why not this team?
What's up, Cameron?
They won it look at the veterans on here. These guys will, and look who's leading the
hello, Mr. Cameron.
Mr. Cameron Coates.
Huge Argo fan. So hello to him.
They won last year, and look at the leadership on this team. So
yeah, they won last year. So do they think that it's not? And yeah, I do agree, Dan, that getting Sam Bennett back will make a big difference. Don't get me wrong, but I just don't see Carolina going away that quietly. I think they're too good of a team. They're a deeper lineup than they get credit for. And yeah, everyone in the chat, Florida finishes it tonight. So maybe I will be the idiot who will desert the clown book when we get into the post-game show. I don't know. But I do honestly feel there is a chance this Florida Panthers lineup, even though it's stacked, and I get, Chazzy, you're talking about the experience, and they've already been there. But at the same time, going on multiple Stanley Cup runs is not easy to do. This team could start to get tired. The way they play is a hard physical game. We have another Florida fan in the chat. Go Florida from Cameron. You know what it is? I'm just a salty Leaf fan, and I don't want to see the Florida Panthers get to the Cup Finals, because then you know what Leaf fans are going to say? Oh,
it could have been our chance.
We lost to the Stanley Cup Final team of the East. I'm already seeing it. But no, I that is also part of my reasoning. But I also do feel that Carolina will come out with their best game they've had all series tonight.
Here's $1 million question. Let's say if Carolina does play like Carolina, lose and needs the conference final to 5 against Florida again, do they blow up this team? Is Rob Brennemore fired? Are you trading away all these young guns? Like,
you're not blowing up this team. What you're doing is you're just going to get the stud that you thought you got in Mikko Rantanen.
I can see that for sure.
You're getting Mitch Marner, I think, 100%.
And Cameron, yeah, I get what you're saying, Cameron. You're a Leaf fans too, but Florida, because we have a house down. Oh, you have a house down there.
Well, lucky you. Nice.
I mean, Jazzy is dressed for Florida.
That's right.
I think, honestly, if Carolina loses tonight and they go out in 5, I think they are throwing the checkbook. Like, they're going to get their checkbook. All the fans are going to get their checkbook, and they're going to throw it at Mitch Marner and say, write a number down, and we'll pay for it.
Can I just state that Toronto Maple Leaf fans will despise Marner forever? It'll be worse than when Vince Carter refused to waive his no move back in the day. Or
It's
Matt
going to be
Sandin,
bad,
he
but
refused
especially
to
with
waive
Carolina
his-
of all places, because that's
And then
where
if he ends up
the
signing
trade
in
was.
Carolina, the team he refused to be traded to,
Oh my gosh, that'd be
I think
classic.
he will be allowed back in.
Uh-oh, I'm in trouble now.
Oh, we have a Lane fan in the chat.
Lane.
Yeah.
Battery's mad at me for suggesting that. What's up, Log?
That's awesome.
Nice.
But I mean, we look here at this Carolina lineup, and there's been some
Oh,
adjustments.
Blake's up to the second line now. Blake's been playing really well these
I was
playoffs.
going to say he's been playing at a high level. Taylor Hall's also brought up to the second line. I need more out of the Svechnikov, Aho, Jarvis line in this series.
Yeah, for sure.
That top line
100%.
has got to get a way to get going because Carolina is more known for their depth. I think all four lines need to contribute.
Yeah.
We have another
Oh,
LA
shit.
fan in the chat.
Ribson's going Panthers.
Yeah. There we go.
You guys are hurting my heart, but that's okay. You know what, though? A lot of people can't stand the Carolina Hurricanes either. They're known as the bunch of jerks. But
yeah, literally.
let's be honest, too, as Oiler fans, we want this series to go as long as physically possible. Am I correct?
Oh, of course. Yeah, 100%.
Because we are all self-proclaimed sports Oiler fans here in Canada, I believe, at the moment. Correct me if I'm wrong, but if I'm wrong, well, whatever, I don't care. And I think though Carolina, they need more out of this top line here, and I think the third line's been pretty good, but they need more out of their top six.
If
Oh,
they get
100%.
bounced tonight, it's just like we talked about Dallas the other night. They're not that far off. Here's a team where you thought you were going one way mid-season, you redirect, you pivot, and now you're in the Stanley Cup Finals. And just like you said, they're going to open the checkbook and sign, like we said, those top 20 free agents. Like there's some championship pedigree in there to add a couple pieces. There you go. You're back to the show.
I agree with Kyle. I think
was
this
gonna
series
say,
has been boring.
This series has been, and again, it brings up my whole point that the playoff system is not a good system because we're not getting good
I'm
conference.
still
We're not getting good
grieving the
conference
Leafs.
finals here. And I do agree, Kyle. I'm also desperately hoping the Oilers get it done. But realistically, because of we may have both the East and West done in 5.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Right? And it's just showing the problem with the system of the way the playoffs work. Wait,
Whoa, is
Chazzy,
this Chazzy drinking a yop?
Is that milk?
Not that we're sponsored by Yop, but yeah.
Yup, me mama.
Those commercials? Yeah.
But no, Kyle, I absolutely agree with you. I actually
Delicious.
think too, not just that the lack of interest and being a grieving Leaf fan. This series has been boring.
It has
Like,
been. I hate
neither
to say
team
it.
is really, to me, neither team has really looked that hungry. Like they even.
I
wanted-
thought it was
Paul
going to be
Maurice
more exciting. I really
Paul
did.
Maurice is making dumb jokes in the press conference about shotgunning beers in the church. Like I don't know what the heck's going on in this series.
That's like most exciting part so far.
This is. I think this is a
He keeps
terrible.
it
outlook.
loose, doesn't he?
This has been a terrible outlook for the league. And I also want to bring up too in Florida, the stands are empty.
Yeah.
But people talk about, there's no fans at Canadian Football League games, which I 100% disagree with that take. And that's a whole nother argument I could make. But you talk about this in Florida, you're in the Eastern Conference Finals and no one's there. Like,
Yeah.
I guarantee you, if I went on Ticketmaster right meow, I could get a ticket for the game right now.
100%.
You know what? You guys chat. I'm going to look. So
Yeah.
why do you guys think, like, Dan, you seem to be the only one that's on my side
I bet
that
it'll be
Carolina
122.
can get this done tonight.
I really do. I think Carolina does have, it's like what Chazzy said, right? They had it all in the bag of Lanton, and so if I went wider to the cup, I honestly feel bad for Carolina. I think all things considering, if they did the most that they could out of that trade, getting Taylor Hall and Stakehoven, I think it's going to be a nice third line center in his career, but he's not a Lanton by any means. I think all things considering they got this far is very impressive. But
Tickets
I
are
think
cheap.
this team, I almost said this series is going to end in 5 at the beginning of it, with Florida in 5. I thought, no, do this Carolina, you got to give them some type of credit, right? So I really think we're going to win one game in the Eastern Conference Final for their home fans. And that's why I think we're going to get it done tonight. That's a very loud arena in Carolina. Jacob, the thing you forgot about is tonight's game's in Carolina and not Florida. So you might have a hard time getting a ticket in Florida tonight when the game's in Carolina.
Okay, but I've looked up the tickets, but this is a huge problem in general of just the way this series has been in general. So I'm on StubHub, and these are Canadian prices, okay?
Yeah.
Section 113, row 6, seat 6. So it's
That
high
sounds like a
corner,
good
mind
seat.
you. This is
Do a
not
pair.
a good
Do a
seat.
pair. Do a pair. Singles are easy.
All right, we'll do a pair. Since it's Chazzy, it is not easy being single, okay? First of all. I've been a single
Not
man.
experienced with this stuff.
I am
Really
like
hard
an
to
independent
come up
mother
with
who don't
life
need no
right
man. But okay, fine. It's the price is like there's like no difference right now. And what's the final injury report on Florida? It looks like they have their lineup healthy back tonight, Kyle. So we're seeing Reinhardt and Bennett slotted back into the lineup tonight.
Mikula, I believe, is back too.
Mikula is also back on the defense from what I'm reading off Daily Face-Off, which is where we usually get our lines from. I find they're pretty accurate.
Yeah, for sure. Mikula has been playing better than I thought he would. Wow.
So how much is it for one ticket? Section 304, so like high back corner. Mind you, is it the conference final?
Are we still a pair?
It's each. The tickets each, but it's just buying two tickets together.
$65 Canadian.
Okay, more than
110.
that.
110.
Closer. Dad?
Hey, what's your guess?
189.
A higher or lower?
146.
Ooh.
But I do want to say the 146, I can't go to a Leaf regular season game for that half the time.
Can't even stand outside for that much.
146 45 minutes before puck drop. That's pretty good.
And yeah, I do agree with you, Kyle. It is definitely an uphill battle for the Carolina Hurricanes. I just think they still have a chance of doing it. I'm not saying it's a guarantee. I'm not putting a Jacob Moore self-proclaimed sports analyst guarantee on it, but I am.
I could see a heartbreaker for Carolina, late or overtime.
Oh, could be. Yeah.
They're in it, but they just didn't have enough.
I don't think Carolina's going to win the series by any means. I just think they could win tonight.
Now, here's another one for you guys, okay? Around the face-off dot, lower bowl at the glass.
Where, in Florida?
In Carolina tonight.
Oh, in Carolina.
You can still get a ticket tonight there. Wow.
I'm going to say 670.
Oof.
A lot lower.
I'll say.
How many rows up, sorry?
Row, it's like fourth row.
And it's a pair or is it a single?
Well, it's for each ticket, but it's pair two.
But I gotta say 350.
A little higher.
Oh.
Dan, what's your
4-9.
490.
Oh, okay.
Or if I want to
Canadian?
move up to row 8, I can get it for 3. I can get it for 336.
So are you behind the benches or on the other side?
Just off to the side of the Florida Panthers bench.
Wow.
So I'm saying, like, the tickets are not that expensive. You know what? Actually, let's just to do a double take here. Let's see how much it is for a game if there's a potential game 7 in Edmonton.
Oh.
How awesome is that anthem there in Edmonton?
Oh my God, it was
When
incredible.
the crowd gets a hold of it.
Edmonton says, like I said before, like when we were working the auto show, we were in Edmonton for that one playoff round. And even though we weren't at the game, just downtown Edmonton was crazy. We couldn't sleep in our hotel till 5 a.m., right?
Kick game
Like,
6.
We could hear it all the way up in the 5th floor.
Interesting enough, Dallas is way more expensive than Carolina or Florida. A crappy seat in Florida and Dallas, you're looking $480
Wow.
for game 6.
But they get a lot of hockey fans down in Dallas, surprisingly.
So this is just very interesting here. Game 5 in Edmonton is sold out.
I bet.
No tickets even available on StubHub.
You mean game 6?
Game 6.
Sorry?
Game 6
Game
in Edmonton?
6.
Game 6 in Edmonton.
Yeah.
The cheapest, okay, let me check game 6 in Edmonton. Cheapest tickets are $417 for standing room.
Whoa.
This is what I mean. Like, there's zero hype in Carolina and Florida. And I think it really goes back to Kyle's point on this series has just been boring.
Yeah. And I thought it was going to be more exciting with Vlad Mossart and Sam Bennett and Keith Kachuk and not Keith. Wow, Brady Kachuk and Carolina being known as the bunch
so it's kind of the same.
And Carolina being known as the bunch of jerks, right? I thought this series was going to be a lot more entertaining, and it just isn't.
But is that because you were grieving the first couple of games and you just haven't?
No, I'm taking the Leaf thing out of it, right? I'm completely Leaf biased here. I just like to watch good hockey. And do what?
Edmonton, Dallas, I've been on the edge of my seat. It has been so exciting.
I get so nervous as a Leaf fan. I actually enjoy watching a hockey game that the Leafs are not involved because I can just actually sit there and enjoy the game. Right? And I was really hoping to sit there and enjoy the game, and it just wasn't happening for me this series. Versus I'm a Leaf fan, I'm going to have a heart attack, not even entertaining at this point being a Leaf fan. It's like do or die kind of thing. It's
You're brushing your teeth in the morning thinking about it.
Yeah, literally. You literally lose sleep the night before being a Leaf fan. Like, you're literally not sleeping. Like,
I didn't sleep.
You got the Maple Leaf pajamas on and the Maple Leaf bedspread and everything, and you're still not sleeping, bro.
So I want to ask you guys a question here, or as one of Dan's famous coworkers would say, let me ask you a question.
Classic.
For Florida to win tonight, does playoff Bob have to reemerge? Because he only allowed one goal the last game, but I mean the chances weren't great either side. Do you think Bobrovsky can play average and win, or do you need playoff Bob?
Average and win.
Yeah.
Disagree.
25, 20, 28 saves.
Carolina is going to throw everything, including the kitchen sink, at the net tonight. You're going to need playoff Bobrovsky. I'm thinking 35 shots minimum for Carolina tonight.
Wow.
It's a do or die game.
And that is Carolina.
Yeah, maybe.
That is Carolina hockey. They're known for throwing a bunch of shots on net.
Well, that's what I'm saying, right? This is a team that likes to shoot the puck.
I don't know if I'm
so Carolina. I think Bobrovsky's going to have to be really good. And I'll be honest, I don't think Anderson's going to be tested much, but there will be a point of a 3 or 4 minute push from Florida, and Anderson's going to have to get the job done during that 3 or 4 minute push. We have seen that. We saw that a lot with Carolina versus Washington. Washington would dominate 4 or 5 minutes. And all Anderson has to do is hold the fort for 4 or 5 minutes. I really feel that's the success for Carolina. And for Florida, they just got to capitalize on the chances when they get them, because Carolina will probably dominate the puck of possession in this game. I don't see Florida steamrolling them. Right? I think it's going to be Carolina's going to play their game. Florida's going to play their game. And it's going to be interesting to see.
I like Tassie's point of dying, but heartbreaking moment, the last moment for Carolina. I think, that crazy fluke will happen last minute and just kill Carolina. It could be quite possible.
But if we go back to game 1, 33 shots on playoff Bob.
Yeah.
And Freddie Anderson only saved 15 of 20. So you're going to need Freddie Anderson to stand up tonight.
Oh, 100%
you do. Think Carolina plays. And I think a lot of people are forgetting this is what they were doing successfully is they play low event hockey. They don't need to take 30 shots. I think when they actually play really boring hockey and kind of keep the chances low on both ends and they don't have to go out there and like shoot 30 shots on, I think they can control the puck, control their gameplay, kind of keep it low event, make sure Florida doesn't get any high danger scoring chances, play that kind of defensive, use the defense strength of Slavin and those guys to block out all the Reinhardts and the Barkovs, get their chances when they get them and kind of surprise playoff Bob. I think that's where the style than trying to throw everything at the kitchen sink, because when Bobrovsky gets hot, that's when you get in trouble, right? When you're trying to put 40 shots, 50 shots a night, once he gets hot, you're not getting one by him. But if you go more of a slower pace, you space it out during the game, kind of make it more low event, I think you have a better chance of winning. That could be me, though.
But it's also, you saw when the Leafs had success early against Florida, it was getting quick goals. I think I know in other games I have said I don't feel the first goal was that important. I don't think Carolina could afford to play behind against Florida. They got to either keep it 0-0 as long as they can or try to take an early lead.
That's a good point, Jacob. Yeah, I agree.
I know I'm really smart.
Yeah.
Well, because both of these teams remind me of like the Devils back in 2003 to 2005.
Yeah.
Oh, with the Scots.
Defensively lock it down.
Yeah.
Good luck trying to get anything through.
Now, Dan, when you talk about, what happens to this Florida team, the additions they made, like Logan Stankoven has 8 points in 14 games as a guy who's been on the fourth line for most of the playoffs when he was moved up to the second line recently. I think he's been a success story for Carolina.
Oh, 100%.
And so is Taylor Hall. I mean, he only 6 points in 14 games, but still at that, he's been a third liner up until recently.
Yeah.
Now, my question is for you guys, if Carolina doesn't win this, I have actually heard some crazy rumblings that this could be the end of Rob Brendamore.
I heard that too.
Would you guys put Rob Brendamore in the same category as when you were saying, well, you can't fire Craig Berube?
Yeah.
Are you putting him in the same category saying you can't fight Rob Brendamore? I am personally.
I am too.
What do you guys feel like? Chazzy and Lane. I've never seen both of you quiet at the same time.
Go ahead, Lane. You can go first.
I
think it'd be crazy.
So do I. I think Rob Brendamore is on the hot seat, though, for sure. Like, if they lose, I'm not surprised if he gets fired. Like, third round.
Someone's got to be the fall guy, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Third round is impressive, but eventually it gets to a point where you don't want to become the least of the third round, right? You don't want to keep saying, well, we got to the third round. Well, we got to the third round. Yeah, but how many times are you going to say, well, we got to the third round? It's the same analogy. Yeah, you're getting 8 games further and you're a bit closer than Toronto, but it's the same argument. Eventually that whole discussion becomes like, so what? Like, win a cup or don't win a cup. If you're not winning a cup, you got to make some changes and you got to figure out what kind of changes you made. And I really think Carolina, to be honest, I think, and I've said this for a while, maybe not on here on the island, but I've said it to my friends, I really think they need a superstar, and I'm surprised Rantanen didn't want to stay because I really felt like when they acquired Rantanen, I thought that was going to be the piece to move Carolina into the next stratosphere. Because I look at their team, they're a really talented team, don't get me wrong.
But they don't have that one guy to just take over a game.
They don't have a franchise player.
They don't have a Matthews. They don't have a McDavid. They don't have a McCarr. They need one. They may not need a lot of them. They need one guy that can go up there and be a difference maker and make some crazy game save or some crazy game play that's going to change the game. Slavin is good, but he doesn't have that ability to make a play to save the game. He might be one of the best defensive defensemen in the NHL, but he can't put the puck in the net when it's a 1-1 game and triple overtime and they need some spectacular goal to win them that game. And when they got Mikko Rantanen, I thought that was the piece. I was like, that's it. That's what they've needed this whole time to get them past this third run up. And this is why I said I think Marner, because I think they could look at it and say, they could go to Mitch Marner and say, you know what? I know you didn't want to come here before, but we went to the third round. There's no pressure here. Well, fans will love you. We'll give you $15 million. We have the money.
15.
By the way, okay, speaking of have the money, they have a projected $28 million in salary cap coming in the next year. And their unrestricted free agents is Jesper Fast, Jack Roslovic, Eric Robertson, Tyson Jost, Brett Burns, and Dmitry Orlov. So, okay, Brett Burns is a good chance he retires.
No, I think he's not going back one more
He's
year.
40. Is a good chance he retires. You sign Orlov at even $8 million.
Yeah, I got to bring Orlov back.
I wouldn't give him $8 million, but if you're only paying Jacob Slavin, I can't believe I'm reading this, 6.395. So I mean, you can't pay Orlov any more than Slavin, in my opinion.
That's got to be one of the best deals in the league.
So, and also big shout out to Max here, who is enjoying at least some of our playoff beers. Kept the beard going. Thank you very much, Max.
Well, I lost mine. I shaved it on air, so I got to let it grow back a little bit, you know. I had to shave it for the Leafs.
I'm doing the playoff haircut. I'm just not getting my haircut until the playoffs.
But all I mean for Carolina is I think, Lane, you're absolutely right. I think they needed that big piece, but I don't think you fire Rob Brendamore without going to get him another stud for next year to see what can happen.
My thing is who created the Rantanen mess? The GM?
The GM picked Rantanen up without assuring that they could get a deal done.
So how do you blame Brindamore? I think Brindamore salvaged the situation. And the conference finals.
And I think the GM did a good job when it blew up in his face to retool and bring in a guy like Logan Stankoven, who is a restricted free agent coming into the end of this year, and he's going to get paid. right? Like I think his salary is going to go up. I think he's probably a $4 or $5 million player. But I mean, you'll still potentially have $20 million to go overpay Mitch Marner because you can't score and you don't have any snipers, so you're going to bring in a playmaker. And personally, I don't think Carolina wants a guy like Mitch Marner because he's not playoff proven, and I don't really know if him and Rob Brendamore are going to be getting along that well.
So I have a question for each of you.
Let me ask you a question.
If you were Mitch Marner at the trade deadline, coming off a contract that you know you're going to be the number one free agent in the free agent market, you're on a team that is part of the core four, and I'll use the analyst conference finals or bust mentality to win the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
Was it more of him not wanting to go to Carolina, or was he committed to the Leafs to finish this out and then play the cards in his favor in the free agent market? Like,
he is not committed to
Toronto. You
Toronto.
can blame the guy.
I can blame the guy. He was not committed to Toronto. Toronto offered him hear me out. And I said the exact same thing about Matt Sundin back in the day, by the way. And quickly before I get into my rant here, Stankoven is very good, but I do agree Natchez is an absolute stud, which is why I never liked the Rantanen trade, because you traded a guy like Natchez to get him.
Apparently he wasn't staying.
That's a very good point made by Maximum.
Yeah, but Lane, I know Natchez wasn't
more
staying,
for you like Natchez too.
But
I do, yeah. I think he's great, Colorado.
And Lane, I know to your point, Natchez wasn't staying, but Natchez was playing hard. Rantanen did not play hard in Carolina whatsoever. And why
could he make Natchez stay? Why not just give him the money?
Natchez must have been a half horse, half man.
He didn't.
Oh, yeah.
But Chazzy, to answer your question, I am going solo screen for my answer here.
Okay, I can pick my nose.
The reason why I'm put off with Mitch Marner right now is the Toronto Maple Leafs reportedly offered him $13.5 million, which I think is insane for what he does. And if he was really committed to Toronto, he would have taken the $13.5 million over 7 years. He would have been the highest paid Leaf in NHL history, being paid more than Austin Matthews, more than William Nylander, even though in the playoffs, Mitch Marner has been unproven, unlike William Nylander, who scores big goals in big moments. So, okay, I know he didn't in the third round this year, but if it wasn't for him, you're not even getting to the third round against. You're getting second round. You're not even getting past Ottawa without William Nylander, because both Marner and Matthews were kind of quiet. So that's my 2 cents on Mitch Marner. I don't think he was doing it for Toronto. I think he was doing it just so he could negotiate a bigger paycheck. And good job, you've done it, but you will become the most hated man in the GTA. But Cam, I hear what you're saying about Marner in Utah. And what up, Mr. Cam?
Going to Utah.
He's the man to go to if you're looking for a Nissan in the Midland area. But
Hyundai or Ford.
Or Hyundai or Ford. Okay, Dan's the salesman and the calculator. But yeah, I could really, really see Marner going to Utah. I think this is the perfect fit. Put him with Clayton Keller, a born goal scorer, and Marner will put up 100 points again. And yes, Cam, that is also true that Matthews was injured, but we had the conversation in another episode. Should Matthews even played in that season and just get him ready to go for the playoff run?
Lane nailed that on the head. Lane said to do what Vegas did, do what Tampa did, do what Florida did, put him in the IR for the whole year, do what Edmonton did with Kane, get the $13 million in cap space, wing in the guy for the playoffs. Matthews is magically healthy. Lane just solved the whole issues of the country. Lane for Prime Minister, and they would have won the Stanley Cup.
I don't know.
And see, the Cam's on the same page as we were saying, but they should have sat Matthews.
Yeah.
Right? And I would have sat him as well, because
apparently doesn't
winning
matter.
the division, if you're a good enough team, doesn't matter. You look, there are no division champions in the playoffs left. And let's keep it a buck even more. The teams that are leading the series were the lower seeds. Edmonton and Florida were both the lower seed going into these respective series.
They both played the IR games this year. Florida with Kentucky and Edmonton with Kane.
Yeah, but Dan, Kane wasn't really a huge salary, so I wouldn't really compare it
Still
to Florida.
$4 million is better than nothing.
It's better than a kick in the pants.
Right?
But
can't beat from joining them. Until the NHL changes the rule, it's not really cheating if it's a part of the rule. And I think smart playing from general manager and ownership and coaching, And Maple Leafs are not dying for money, okay? Maple Leaf Sports Entertainment has tons of money. So who cares they pay Matthews $13 million? It doesn't count against the cap. Do it.
I have a theory, guys.
Just do it.
Like Nike, do it.
So I have a theory. Look, I think they could fix this. What if they just? I thought about this theory before. I want your guys' thoughts. So how about we this? How about we do this? Forget about Forget about LTIR. Okay. You can get. How about this is my idea. I know people are going to hate this, but I think this fixes this whole issue.
I hate it.
You don't know what it is yet. You're probably going to hate it, but here's my idea. You can acquire whoever you want, okay? Go acquire players. You can scratch whoever you want on any given night. You can put anybody and you want in the press box. But when you show up to the game, who's ever on the lineup, who's ever on the card, the 18 players and the 2 goalies, they have to equal the salary cap. You can put whoever you want in the press box. You can go trade for Brad Marchand. You can go trade for this guy, put this guy, get this guy in your team. And
I like it.
Instead of having this LTIR crap where we got to put him out the season for 90 games and then bring him back and then be $40 million over the salary cap and then worry about, this team's doing and this team not doing and this team could have done it. Get rid of the whole thing. Say, okay, whatever your scratch list is, doesn't matter for your cap. Put whoever you want in the press box. You want to put Matthews in the press box for 82 games? Put Matthews in the press box. But when you play a game for the regular season or the playoffs, it has to be 96 million, who's ever the players playing on the ice.
I actually really like that idea.
I agree with you 1,000%.
Yeah, I like that
idea a lot. Brilliant idea. Funny enough, Dan and I off camera have had the same conversation for probably the last 5 or 6 years.
Which
saying that
league
just make it a game by game, just make it a game by game salary cap.
But
Cam makes an interesting point here, though. The small budget teams won't like that, and that is true for teams like Utah and Arizona's gone.
Yeah, but they shouldn't be doing it either. Like Campbell, I'm just saying what they're doing is not much better because what they're doing is instead of actually spending to make money to make revenue, they're just taking players like Shea Weber, who knows he's just going to never play again, and they're just using that as an excuse to get to the cap floor instead of actually trying to get players that can actually play the game. Put players.
Hey, remember Shea Weber is in the Hockey Hall of Fame.
That's right. We just talked about that.
Remember, guys, Shea Weber is in the Hockey Hall of Fame, even though he's not officially retired. That'll go down as one of the weirdest ones ever.
That Arizona Coyote crap was BS, man. They literally sat there and put all these guys who should be retired instead of actually putting guys on the ice that can actually play. They were taking advantage, just like Vegas is, and nobody said a damn thing about it. That like, it's okay. No, it's not okay. You're sending guys who should be retired who are collecting paychecks. I consider collecting paycheck. Where's my $15 million? No, put the guys. If you're gonna have to play hockey, you should have to be physically fit to play the game. I hate this LTIR, this manipulation of the cap. It's terrible. It's ruining hockey. It's ruining revenues across the league. And you wonder why it's $100 to go sit in the third round in some of these teams because they don't have revenue, because fans don't show up, because they won't get players to play on the team. This isn't a hard concept. It's just Gary Bettman decides what really wants to follow and what really doesn't want to follow.
Well, we've talked about the rules in the NHL may not apply depending on what team you are, but I know another way to solve at least half of the issue Lane was talking about here. When players retire, even though the team still has to pay them, just don't put it against the cap anymore.
Yeah, because they don't structure the contract that way.
If you're retired over the age of 36, your salary still goes against the cap for the remainder of your contract. Right. So scrap that. Then you won't have Utah trading for Shea Weber.
Yeah,
right.
True.
The team Montreal will be more than fine paying Shea Weber his money as long as it doesn't go against his cap. Because let's be honest, Montreal can afford to pay Shea Weber his money.
Oh, 100%.
Then you have to make sure there's no contracts that are heavy and loaded, though.
Why not? It's no different than manipulating the IRTL or whatever.
I'm going to sign Mitch Marner, like the what's his name?
Teams are doing that, though. But Chazzy, teams are doing that, right? Like Lane is so disgusted with your point, he has turned off his camera in disgust. He is a floating silhouette. He is back. But no, I don't know. that could be a whole live show itself. How to fix the NHL salary cap
So
system.
you're saying I could sign Mitch Marner for $96 million over 7 years, give him $1 million in year 1, $1 million in year 2, and then heavy back end, and then that's not against the cap?
No. Because you can only pay someone so much per year in the NHL. But let's say
but if he's
you
not
can
playing
only
for you
pay a
anymore.
player $15 million max per year in the NHL. That is a rule under the salary cap. Now, mind you, again, rules may not apply. Who knows? But if you are applying the rules, Dan's Mr. Calculator, so my math isn't going to work because I'm not pulling out a calculator to figure this out.
Well, no, it's not 15 million. It's about 14 to be exact.
Whatever. So you could pay Marner like 15 to start the contract, and then by year 5 start paying him like 10, or the other way around, pay him like 10 million early and then 11 and then 12, and because you're backloading the contract to try to backload it with the salary cap increases, right?
Right.
Or you backload it. So then let's say John Tavares would be a prime example. Let's say you want to give him 30 million over 3 years because you're an idiot. So you could pay John Tavares 3 million now, and then we'll even say 5 to make it easier. We'll say 5 and then go like max out for the next 2 years. That you can
signing
do.
bonus?
Well, the signing bonus does actually go against the salary cap, depending on how it's written in the contract.
He will have to pay tax on that, though.
Another thing
He will have to pay tax. That is very true. But
the one thing that I'm pretty sure it matters. I think no matter how you pay the contract, the salary goes by the AAV. So it doesn't actually matter.
Not by the salary cap.
I thought it did. Are you sure? I thought it does.
I am very sure. Because I've looked into this before.
Oh,
and I thought it did.
Dan, don't swear just because you spilled milk all over yourself again.
I didn't spill milk. I sprung a pen into my milk. The pen just exploded and they in my milk.
Cam was probably like, "Oh boy, I'm used to this when I used to work with this guy." But,
Yeah.
but Cam, you make a very good point here. If the salary cap goes up, it's no problem. Which the salary cap is going up a lot. It's going up 5 million next year, and I believe an additional 5 or 6 the year after that. Like it's projected to skyrocket.
Right.
And so I mean, teams like Carolina will definitely spend. But actually, when we talked about Rob Brendamore on the hot seat, I don't know who the GM is in Carolina because I don't remember.
It was Ron Francis, but now he's in Seattle.
So you gave me a completely useless answer. Thanks.
Correct. Yeah, I did. I know Justin Williams is an assistant to the GM.
Who do you replace him with if you get rid of him?
It's Eric Tuski.
Who's he?
It's their GM.
Tulusky.
Eric George Tulusky.
Okay, George.
Yeah, and see, Cam's pointing out, look, it's going to be like 150 million by 2027, which is like crazy,
wow.
Right? So teams are going to backload their contracts.
What's a max contract by that then? 18 million?
Probably.
Well, more than that.
That's what you wonder too. Are guys going to start signing shorter deals? Like
I think so.
McDavid only want to sign a 2-year deal.
Probably.
Right? To
with
get
an
paid.
option, maybe? Yeah.
I think we're going to see a lot more bridge contracts coming up in the next couple of years. But I think Carolina, I think the GM is on the hot seat, even though he's only been the permanent GM since June 18, 2024. I think he's on the hot seat because he made the big move for Rantanen, traded a stud in Natchez, as Max pointed out too. Like Natchez is a very good player. Everyone's saying they wanted to get Rantanen, but they traded one of their best players. I remember saying that. Remember, Dan, I said that to you when you said I can't believe Colorado traded Natchez, traded Rantanen. I'm like, yeah, but they got Natchez. Natchez is a very good player.
He's very underrated. Wow.
So,
and did they trade a first round pick with him too?
It was. I'd have to pull the trade up again to know everything for sure. And yeah, I agree with you, Cam. 100%. We're going to see a lot more bridge deals, I think, over the next couple of years. That's why Matthew Nice wants a 3-year contract because he knows if he can continue to put up 30 around high 20s, low 30 goals per year, well, throwing over 180 hits a year, he's going to get paid in a couple years. Right? So he wants a 3-year deal, not a 7 or 8-year deal, even though maybe the Leafs pay him a little bit more if he's willing to sign 8 years. He wants the bridge deal so he can, because as the max contract goes up, that means the mid-grade contracts are going to continue to go up. But
yeah, 100%.
I really think it's the Carolina GM that's on the hot seat. right now because you made the big trade for Rantanen, and it was, let's be honest, it was a complete disaster.
Oh, yeah, epic fail.
I think if Carolina has Rantanen, this might be a different series.
You basically traded.
Lane was saying that Carolina needs one superstar. Now, mind you, but as I say that, you traded Natchez. I don't understand for a team like Carolina trading a stud to get a stud. They should have just traded a bunch of draft picks and
that's what I would have done.
Jackson Blake, as much as he's
basically you traded Natchez for Stakehoven, Hall, and what? 2 first-round picks. But I don't think it's a very good trade because Hall is practically retired. Stakehoven would be a second-line center at best.
Natchez in 79 games had 83 points this year.
That's what I mean, right?
Right, so like Natchez in Carolina, he had 55 points in 49 games and a +4.
Yeah,
like this guy was a stud for your team.
His numbers are pretty close to Anthony's.
I think Logan Stakehoven's going to be a phenomenal player in a couple years for Carolina, but they're
not
trying
a
to
franchise player.
Talk to me in 2 years. I think Logan Stankoven is very underrated. I think Dallas actually, if Dallas doesn't actually, let's flip this around here. If Dallas doesn't make it to the Cup Finals, and let's say Rantanen next year, his production goes down, which is a very strong possibility.
Yeah.
How are you doing about making that trade when if Logan Stankoven continues to improve, and let's say Mikko Rantanen decides to get grumpy again because he misses Colorado? Like, in all honesty, with the way his attitude was about being traded in the first place and then refusing to try in Carolina, could he just go, I don't like it in Dallas. I don't like cowboy hats. Craig is saying no. I am saying it might get really scary if you're Dallas. And you might be screwed. I'm a scary monster.
How is Lane not even cracking a smile through this?
Anyways, I don't know, but I do want to go around the room here. Even though we know, I say Carolina will win. Dan thinks Carolina might win.
I think I win tonight.
And Lane and Chazzy are saying no way, series done. Go get the golf clubs. So
30% chance.
I'm going to ask you a different question. Let's go over the spread here. How, if for whichever team you think is going to win, how many? What will be the goal differential? I think they're going to win by 1, 2, 3, 4, 10. Lane, we'll start with you.
I think Florida will win by 3. 2 empty nets.
Why?
I think it'll be a 1-goal game. Carolina will pull their goalie. Florida will get 1, and then they'll probably pull their goalie again and get the last one. And the two empty nets in, they'll win by 3, but they'll technically win the game by 1. And then Maurice will say something funny about how we scored the 2 best goals of the season. And they were on the nets.
Cam is projecting that Florida will win by 3.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we have Lane saying by 2.
I said 3.
Cam saying by 3. Chazzy, what is your answer? Dun, dun, dun.
Florida by 1. As I said, a late shocker, if not an overtime.
Wow.
So we're maybe seeing some overtime. Dan?
Yes, sir. I think Carolina's going to win by 1. I think it could be an overtime game, too. We haven't seen much overtime in this series, so bring it up.
Yeah, it's time for some overtime.
100%.
I think Carolina wins by 2. You're going to see Carolina leading by 1. Florida pulling the goalie, and then Paul Maurice is going to go back to shotgun and beers in a church, which is still the weirdest quote I've heard all year. I think Florida's overconfident. And again, when we do our post-game show, which we're doing a post-game show, even if I'm the only one here, and Lane will be here. Lane is usually on StreamYard way before the rest of us. We're still making ourselves trying to look as dashing as he is, which we fail.
Lane will be there early.
The thing is, I never log off. I just sit here and stare at the screen.
No. He came out of the womb with StreamYard open.
Well, you do play a guitar and the drums while waiting. That's pretty impressive.
He's got the sound of waves going on in the background.
I just sit on the island the entire time waiting for my friends to come back.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm very lonely.
We got on the boat. You stayed on.
One more question before we sign off. if Carolina wins, is there any concern from Florida?
No.
Nah, not yet. Not till it gets to the least game.
I agree with you personally. I think if Carolina wins, I think Paul Maurice is still making stupid jokes.
Yeah, 100%.
I think if it gets to game 6, maybe.
I just don't like the way I think Florida is already planning their flight plan to Edmonton, because they were even talking about that. And Cam is also saying no panic in Florida. I agree with you, boys.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any panic in Florida, but I think if you get to game 7, it's anyone's game. And then Florida wakes up and probably takes the series. I don't think Carolina's going to win this series, but I think Carolina's going to make it a lot closer than Florida wants. Edmonton, I think we'll talk about it more in our pregame, but as a quick teaser, Edmonton's going to win the series in the next game, and it's going to be done.
Who has home ice in that
and
series?
do not pour milk on your computer.
No, try it so.
And you're going to
see, the pen is in the milk.
Okay, I'm just waiting for that to spill. Damn, we see it. Stop. You're going to be anxiety. Anxiety. Kick it
I
up.
just spelled water in the internet more. That was a bad idea.
Oh, it's my anxiety. Anxiety. Oh, it's my anxiety. Anxiety. Oh, it's my anxiety. No one likes my
dancing blow.
If it goes to Florida Edmonton, who has home ice in that finals?
I believe Edmonton.
Yeah.
I'm not Florida. But both finished third in the division.
Who had home ice last year? Florida?
Florida last year, I believe.
Right, Florida last year, yeah.
They did.
And they
I
won
think
it in
Edmonton will have
7. It
this
was 7,
year.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, I went 7, yeah.
So Florida had 98 points this year.
Edmonton had 101.
Had 101.
Oh, I was right.
Wow.
Therefore, Edmonton would have home ice. That's huge.
Wow.
If Edmonton can get home ice in the final. Because
That
that
final
Rogers
game, yeah.
place in Edmonton is, oh my, it is just magical.
There's only one thing, though, now.
It's going to elevate.
No, Zach Hyman's completely done for the season.
Yeah,
that's sad, bro.
Did he have surgery, or he's scheduled to have surgery already? What
Schedule has surgery already.
What is it? I didn't hear what the injury was.
Undisclosed, just in case he can somehow make it back for like.
It was just a fluky play too. It's just
no,
weird.
it was a hard hit. He was just watching his pass like a dope. So who comes quickly? We still have a couple more minutes before the game starts. So who comes in for Hyman? I'm going to say Skinner.
Skinner, yeah, Skinner.
I think you bring Jeff Skinner back in the lineup just to try to bring in some goal scoring, and you elevate Connor Brown into your top 6. Hopefully, if
he got a bell rung too last game.
So we don't. I don't know if there's been any update on Connor Brown yet either.
Yeah, because Arbertson's already in for Connor Brown. I was going to bring in Arbertson, but he's already in for Connor Brown. So for now, it'll be Skinner. Give him a chance to see how he does. And then the $1 million question is with Connor Brown is healthy. You know, Connor Brown has to have a spot. So the $1 million question is Connor Brown's healthy. It's Alverson or Skinner.
Now,
I would say Alverson, but we haven't seen Skinner yet.
Matthias Ekholm is labeled as a game time decision for this one. Do you run 7D?
I was just going to ask that. Yeah.
Yeah. Good point, Wayne. Good point.
I would run 7D. Because right now Daily Faceoff has Troy Stetcher on the 4th line. I don't think that would happen.
I wouldn't mind.
But I wouldn't mind 7D because Stetcher has been playing really well, and you don't know how Ekholm will be first game back. He could re-aggravate something.
It's not a bad idea.
It's not now. However, though, if Connor Brown's back in the lineup, you need to make a spot for Connor Brown. And then I don't know if I would do. I don't know if I like 7D. The only thing is a 7D at Edmonton. McDavid and Draisaitl are used to playing half the game.
That's true. You can double shift them, right?
So Edmonton's just going to want to get this series done.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if there's an update on Connor Brown's injury status. Let me look that up. You boys talk about pretzels.
Hey, pretzels. What favorite pretzels you guys like? I think it's only one favorite.
I like them really salty.
Oh.
Connor Brown has been ruled out
$30
for Game 5.
Ouch.
What's that?
Connor Brown has been ruled out for Game 5.
Out for Game 5?
Wow.
Yes.
So then I definitely think you go 7.
He's sidelined according to the Canadian press. B. Brown's second straight game on the shelf undergoes injury. Zach Hyman has been ruled out as well. Those have to decide whether to play Jeff Skinner as the 12th forward or utilize 7 defensemen with Ekholm available.
I think they like the 7D better.
I think it
Why not
depends-
play just Skinner? I don't get why everyone's so
it
against playing Skinner. He
depends
was a
how
40
available
goal scorer.
Matias Ekholm is.
Yeah, true.
You want to get Skinner because I think you want to get Ekholm back in game shape, and this way is a good way to run him, like Jacob said, where you can kind of play him in more decreased minutes, see how he can get back into it. Because if Ekholm's
Lane
ready
and I
for-
are really smart.
You two are, yeah.
ready for the Stanley Cup Finals, you want to get him back in game shape so that when the Stanley Cup Finals does come, he's more like mentally and physically prepared to play in those games. So you don't want to give him a chance to play where he's going to get hurt or get re-aggravate whatever he was out for. And see, I'm not wrong this time. I'm like yesterday, apparently. 50,
Or do you give him one more game and see what Skinner can do? Because now
And see,
you have
that's
a whole.
the only other thing I go back and forth. But I don't know if I want to give Dallas any life because I think Dallas is a team that's good enough to come back from 3-1.
Oh, for
Skinner
sure
can
they are.
score.
And
Especially
Jeff
the
Skinner
Rangers.
can
Here he's
score.
Michael Jordan on skates.
That's
Look at that comment go, boys.
All right, Dan says Joseph Wool's the reason why Austin Matthews can't score, and Chazzy says that the reason why the Jays can't score is because Matt Scherzer is injured. So I don't know, boys. But I think it's time we sign off. We'll be back for a post-game show after the game. We might be half asleep, but we'll be ready to rock. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching the Streakres Island Podcast Live Edition. Looking for Streakres Island content? Follow us, stalk us, find out where Lane lives. I'm kidding. Don't actually do that. But do follow us on all the social medias.
Sorry, there
Max
is a post game.
wants us to be set on fire. Max, I enjoy not being on fire, but I agree.
I don't think that's what he means.
Thank you very much, Max. And
I think he means we're lit, fam.
we will see everyone in the post-game show. So if you're feeling tired, make yourself a coffee, drink a Red Bull. We're not sponsored by Red Bull, but we could be. We are also not sponsored by Chazzy's beautiful shirt, but I got to say, Chazzy, you are almost as dashing as Lane Dashing Dash Code.
I'm wondering if I got to wear it for the post game now if we see Carolina.
Yeah, for sure you do.
Can't change
But-
now.
Might have to bring the
Thank you
putter
very
down.
much, everyone, for watching. I'm the self-proclaimed sports analyst. We have Chazzy 5.1 firmware update pending to get to 5.2. We have Mr. More for your money.
Woo!
And, of course, do not forget Lane Mother Truck and Dashco. He is
Bye-bye.
no. See you guys in the post game.